Oh my god, it's signed! I did not know it was signed. Oh my gosh. They're black. They black. Y'all, they black. And wealthy. In 1910. Oh my god. Hey y'all, we're gonna try this again. And by this, I don't mean this clip. I mean vlogging in general. I told myself at the beginning of this year that I wanted to fall back in love with vlogging, and I have not. I have started so many vlogs and just have not finished them. There's a multitude of reasons. Before it was like brain goblining, and then also just like the sun's out. We don't get that very much in Seattle, so I was like, I'm out. Let's go. And when it comes to filming in public, we're not there yet. But I mean, there's just a lot going on, and so I'm having a hard time with filming when I can, because especially when it comes to vlogs, I don't know if you could tell from the frame. I forgot what's in frame, but my room's a mess. A lot of things that I need to clean are a mess, and that is because again, brain goblins. I'm in bed just trying to survive, or I am cleaning it and then I live life and it's a mess all over again. Also, I have a real need to declutter at this point. I have lived in this apartment for a year now, and I have filled the space. I think it also has to do with like last year I wasn't doing very much decluttering, and so things just kind of piled up. I just also spending to like make myself happy. There was a lot of retail therapy happening. I need to do a lot of decluttering, because putting it quite simply, I can't tell if you guys can see this pile of jeans next to me, or, okay, those are just pillows, or the pile of socks right here, but things just don't have space. Like, it's clean, it's folded, it's on a table, because the drawers are full, my jeans go in my closet on the like shelves, and that's full. Like, everything is full right now, and so, and I feel no connection to some of the things that I have, to where it is time for it to like find a new home or just get thrown away because it's broken. And so it's definitely time to do that. It's spring now, so spring cleaning, you know, before the summer comes, because the way this weather is hitting, we might actually have a nice summer, and I want to be out for that, and I can't be out if it looks a mess. Now, of course, I am reading at the moment. I am currently reading Lovely War by Julie Berry. It's right there behind the camera, and I totally should have grabbed it, but I didn't. So I'm currently reading Lovely War, and I'm actually really enjoying it. I'm kind of surprised by how much I'm enjoying it, but the writing is beautiful and honestly quite poetic. And so I just really enjoyed my time with the book. This was one of my magical readathon reads, which I obviously did not finish reading. In fact, there's a lot of books from that I did not finish reading, so didn't do that well with magical readathon this last time around. But I still really love this book and all the books that I picked up at that time. I know I didn't do any updates for Magical Readathon, but I also picked up House on the Cerulean Sea, and I really enjoyed that book. Oh, the characters were so cute. Lucy, literally every single character captured my heart, and it was just so beautiful, and I'm just so happy that I have that book. Also, speaking of, where did I put it? Oh, it's already put away. See, in an attempt to, you know, clean as I go, I had already put this book away. But I did get my most recent Fairy Loot adult box, and that was In the Lives of Puppets. And after just reading House on the Cerulean Sea, it like made me really happy to see this, because I'm like, I really like how this author writes. And it's so, oh my god, it's signed. I did not know it was signed. Oh my god. You know, I was gonna be like, aren't they all signed? But it's not a given. And it's signed. Like, that's with a pen, because it bled through. Not onto this page, but it bled back there. Oh my god. Oh my god, he looks exactly like a TJ Klune. Wow. Oh my goodness. I know y'all didn't see me unboxing it, but I did look at the book. I swear I did when I opened it. I'm so excited. Anyways, I do have this book now, and I'm very excited to read another book of TJ Klune's. Before reading House in the Cerulean Sea, I was like, I need to read this book before I pick up anything else from this author, just like I'm trying to do with more authors. And now that I've read it, I'm like, I want all the books. Oh, I get it. I get the hype. But yeah, anyways, that kind of took me off. I just wanted to update a little bit about Magical Readathon. Anyways, I'm reading Lovely War now. Absolutely enjoying it. And like I said, I need to do a lot of cleaning and decluttering, which means I'm not going to be able to physically read very much. So I'm going to pick up an audiobook, and I'm going to pick up Spare, because it turns out I bought the audiobook already. And that's Spare by Prince Harry. Turns out I bought it already on Audible and I just never picked it up. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that while I'm cleaning. Yeah, today I have a lot of energy and I don't know why, because today work-wise was like a lot, but I'm gonna try and like hone on to what little energy I have when I have it, and hopefully this vlog can be quite entertaining, or at least very productive for us all, and we can just have a productive spirit together, you know, getting things done. I'm now out of my like mental rut, and I want to actually get started on my yearly goals, because it is the 5th month and we're halfway through this, so let's get going. Anyways, that's over now, and I will talk to you guys later. Hey y'all, it is Wednesday night now. I am freshly showered, face freshly washed, but I did do a live today and it was so refreshing. You guys always give me like all the energy that I need, and I don't know why I go in so nervous to do them, and yet no change. And I'm so sorry if you can hear regular outside noises, but I closed my window for the live. I can't do it again. It's hot. In reading news, I have read more of Lovely War. I think I just gave an overall feel of the book anyways the last time I talked to y'all, but I have less than 100 pages left, and I strongly believe that I'll be finishing this tomorrow. I love this book, you guys. I was not expecting this at all. If you don't know what Lovely War is about, it is a World War I and II love story told from the perspective of Greek gods. It's so good. So it starts off with Aphrodite, and the A names I be mixing up left and right. Apollo, I believe. It starts off with Aphrodite and Apollo on a trial of sorts, with Hephaestus being the judge of sorts. It's kind of on trial. Aphrodite decides that she is going to tell the story of 2 great loves that she had a part in, and the loves that she described. It's so beautiful, and the way these gods are speaking about people, like not so much Apollo with his horrible self. I can't stand Apollo. But the way the gods speak about humans is just a really like observing study of such. Like we're all just this case study that they are taking part in, and it's so well written. It feels poetic and beautiful, and I am loving my time here. Aphrodite. I don't usually find myself loving Aphrodite in books. Also, please ignore the bonnet. I promise the hair looks worse. But Aphrodite, I don't often find myself loving her in Greek retellings or anything. Like, not really loving. And it's kind of funny that I don't really love the goddess of love, although this version of Aphrodite has a comment about that. It's just like, she often comes off as quite vain and, you know, heartbreak and all that. Like, I think vain is just a really good way to describe her. Oftentimes she is portrayed as just a very vain goddess. The way she is characterized in this book, you kind of understand that her vainness is a simple fact. Like, she is a goddess. Like, aren't all gods and goddesses quite vain to some extent? But also, it's a defense mechanism. It's a way of her making sure people aren't too close to her, while also boosting her own confidence. And it's just, she's just a woman. And I love her. And I love love. So I really feel like I should love Aphrodite more than I do in other books, but this Aphrodite gets it. She loves love. I love love. She loves the love that she is able to influence mortals, people to have, and the way she describes this love story so beautifully. Now, for the Trial of Swords, it's not really a trial, but whatever. For the Trial of Swords, other gods are called upon as witnesses to really help the story progress. Another standout god in this book is Hades. And I don't hate him. I really don't. But I just wish he would go away. Like I stated, this takes place in I was just saying Lovely War. This takes place during World War One and Two, mainly World War One. I even Googled when World War Two started because I was never good at dates in history class. But but mainly World War One because I have less than 100 pages left, and World War Two has not even started yet. So I don't know if the author just had it placed in World War One, but is using oh no, that's World War Two time right there. Well, as I stated, the book takes place during war. Hades, god of death, grief, and all that jazz. He pops up, and this is where I cried because he has the most beautiful, let me pull it up. It brought me so much comfort when I read this last night. From Hades' perspective, someone has passed on and they are really sad about the grief that their family will have for them. And Hades stated, he began to cry. I am so often moved by mortals whose first concern is not for their own lost years, but for the grief their passing will cause those they love. It's more common than you think. The most ordinary mortal bodies are housed by spectacular souls. And I was like I just read it and I immediately was like, Gaia. Like, my grandma who passed last year, I just immediately thought of her. And not to go into too much detail, but like, one of my first concerns was like, oh my gosh, she is good. She's worried about us. Like, I was worried about her being worried about us, who are left here. And I know that to some extent, I'm sure she wanted more years, but I also think that there is a very strong chance that more than anything in those moments, she was more sad about how we would feel and how we would cope without her, and the grief that we would feel with her passing. And just reading that text, reading that part just felt so comforting and beautiful. And I could barely finish the chapter because my eyes were just sobbing. I could barely read through the tears, but I did. And it was just, I sent it to my sisters and I was like, this text made me feel so comforted, and it just made me think of Gaia and comforted me in a way. And they both saw it and it was like, oh my goodness, yes. And so, yeah, if you have ever lost someone who was close to you, maybe it might bring you some comfort to think that in their passing, maybe, just maybe, they weren't concerned about their loss, but worried about you and your grief that you would feel without them. Because for some reason that made me feel a bit better, because I grieved the grandmother for my love for her and the experiences I had for her, but also grieving the years that I wouldn't have without her, but more importantly, the years that she didn't get to have moving forward. And what if she got to make it to 76 or 77 or how many ever years old? I was just speaking to somebody and they said that they're an older person, and they said that their mom is in their 90s. And every time someone tells me that now, I think like, what if my grandmother's got the chance to do that? Like, I wish they could have had those years. And just reading this had me be like, well, maybe they weren't mourning the loss of those years, or maybe they weren't sad over the fact that they didn't get to make it to 90, or maybe they weren't sad about the fact that they didn't get into like really old age. Maybe they were just sad that they were leaving you behind. And I don't know, like, it felt like a hug that I really needed, because my grandmothers are always on my mind. And of course, I more prevalently on this channel, when I'm speaking about my grief, I'm talking about my mom's mom who passed, because that is the more recent one. But my dad's mom is always on my mind as well. And so just thinking about them, of like, maybe they weren't sad about the years that they won't get to have, but instead sad and concerned about the grief and the heartache I will feel now that they have passed on. And because my grandmas were always like, I was their baby. And yeah, they were on the Kalia's Grandmas Club. So yeah, I don't know, that really brought me so much comfort. And this book, anyways, ever since Hades has popped up since then, I'm just like, go away, go, shoot. Like, you're making me cry more. And you are only giving me your perspective is in direct alignment of the characters I really care about, particularly male characters I really care about story. So like, can you not? And I understand like you're with them because they're grieving, but I'm gonna need you to go away. Because I feel like it's not always going to be you talking about them grieving. It might just be you welcoming them. I can't handle it. I really cannot. But I'm really loving this book, you guys. I have, like I said, less than 100 pages left. I really feel like I'm going to finish it tomorrow. Although Thursday is usually when my week really, really picks up. It's the end of the week, but then that's when I just get the busiest. The sun's out. Us Seattleites are out and about living our best life. If you can't tell, I've tanned quite a bit. Not quite a bit, but I've tanned a bit. So, but yeah, that's my update for tonight. Like I said, I'm going to do a face mask, and maybe read some more, or maybe just watch some TV, because I've read quite a bit on sprints, obviously. But I'm feeling really good, you guys. Like that, this book has me feeling so good, and sprints has me feeling so good and warm and fuzzy. All right, hello, you guys. It is Wednesday now. Nope, Thursday. It was Wednesday yesterday, and I said that then. But it is Thursday now, and that's 3 days in a row I've updated the vlog. Doing good so far. Still struggling with the B-roll, but progress. So, speaking of progress, I have completed Lovely War by Julie Berry. I'm giving it 5 stars. I forgot to update my story graph, but yeah, I finished it literally during my work break, and when I tell you I could not wait for lunch to come, I was ready to go on break and go to lunch just so I could read. Because I only have like 50 pages left. But anyways, if that. But anyways, it's great. I love it. It's amazing. I didn't go into... Also, sorry if I sound a bit nasal, or at least more nasal than usual. Allergies or allergene. Oh, I don't like it. Anyways, I have absolutely adored Lovely War. It's just... So, oh my gosh. Okay, no real updates beyond what I've already stated. I think I just want to go more in detail about things because my battery was dying last night, and I was like, let's just do this as concisely as possible. And then when I wasn't being concise, I was like, well, I gotta end it anyways. But back to why I absolutely adore Aphrodite in this book. She is smarter than I've ever seen her to be. She doesn't come off as vain in a bad way. Like, she just, she's such, I love her. I love her so much. And I love the love stories in this book. All of them, beyond the first 2 that we saw, like every point in which love was discussed was beautiful. Every point in which Hades, although he made me so sad, every point in which he got to shine light on his perspective and the people he's touched and people who have passed who are helping their families, and like how he, oh my god, there was a line in here that very much encapsulates why Hades and Aphrodite are my favorite in this book. As I've stated, Lovely War is a love story that takes place during the time of World War I and II. What I didn't say before, because I didn't realize until I was actually paying attention to the dates in which the gods are speaking to each other, or in which the trial is taking place. The times that the gods are speaking, or you're returning to the god's perspective in current time, is during World War II. So didn't really capture that at first, and then I was like reading it and I was like, oh, see, after actually Googling when World War II started, because again, not great at dates when it comes to history, I was like, oh, okay, so it's when the gods are speaking and like in the room that they're in that is taking place in World War II, and then they're going back to talk about a love story in World War I, or two love stories in World War I. Who knew that this would be as amazing as it would be? I was telling my sister this earlier today. I was telling her the concept of the book, and she was like, that's such an odd story, like how for this to come out of someone's mind. And I was like, exactly, like how was I to know I was going to love it like I do? But towards the end, Hades and Aphrodite are speaking to one another, and as I stated before, Aphrodite is like on trial. It's not really a trial, and Hades and Aphrodite are talking back and forth to each other, and they say, like, just a real quick blurb, because the final line, I was like, not the final line of the book, but like the final line of just basically what I have underlined. But he goes, Hades rises and dissolves his severe looking chair. It vanishes with a faint pff. You got me wondering, Lady Aphrodite, Hades says, whether I am not myself perhaps on trial. Aphrodite rises to a kneeling posture, a look of disdain written across her lovely face. Then I have failed, my lord Hades, she tells him, to show fitting gratitude. You are my crown and my glory. Hephaestus is surprised to see what might or might not be a tear in Hades' eyes. I scramble in sticks and clay, she says. You make of my work a temple. And isn't... One more time. I scramble in sticks and clay, and you make my work a temple. Oh my gosh. Because that's life, right? Like, you should be so fortunate to have a great love story. Two things are going to happen to all of us. We will live and we will die. And hopefully we are loved and loved along the way. And she just, that's just so beautiful, because that's what matters for Hades' perspective. Like, death is just a part of life. Like, if you live, you will die. From plants to animals to humans, like, that's just the way the world works. To be so fortunate to have love along the way, whether familial, platonic, romantic, what have you, a lover or a friend, whomever you love during the time, that is what makes grief happen, because you loved them and you were loved by them, or however it goes. But it's beautiful that you got to have this great story with them. Again, whether it's familial love, platonic, or romantic, it's still love. And what makes death beautiful is that you got to have those moments of love with them, and it was fumbly, and you might have argued and you might have been upset with each other at one point, but when they're gone, you miss them dearly and you remember all the good times, and it's beautiful. But yeah, this book was such a smile on my face. It was so beautiful, every single one of them. Oh my god. But yeah, if you can't tell, giving it a 5 stars. I'm starting The Davenports by Crystal Marquise. This is my sister book club pick, and I haven't started any bit of it, and I'm very excited to get to it. Y'all know when I hauled this book, I was raving about it, or raving about how excited I was to read it. It definitely deserved to be in my anticipated releases, but I did not know it was being released until like 2 weeks before the release date. So I'm just excited to get to it. My sister has already started reading it, and she said that she's really enjoying it so far. But yeah, that's really the update for now. I'm going to read, relax, and call it good. Ignore the fact that my bed's not made. I'm really going to work on that habit. It is Saturday now. I do have a few reading updates. I've read more of Prince Harry's autobiography, but I will get into all the reading updates later. I just wanted to check in real quick and just be like, hey, hi guys, because you don't really see me much during the day usually, and it's the weekend now, so hey y'all. Today I am going to handle my hair, which you guys will see in the next update, hopefully. Reading update wise, I read more of Prince Harry's autobiography, and it is doing exactly what I wanted from it and just making him more human. I think I've spoken about this before when I read Will Smith's memoir, but I'm not really a celebrity person. Like, of course I like celebrities. There are celebrities that I like. Hey, Beyonce. But I'm not really obsessive over them. I think I definitely was when I was younger. Like, I was definitely a 1D girl, but I'm just not there. Like, ultimately they're human, and that's, like, I guess where people put celebrities on a pedestal of like they're the closest thing to a god on earth or something. I'm just not there. And so like if they mess up or there are areas where we don't quite align, I'm like, well, they're human, that's duh. But like princes aren't celebrities, like or they are, I don't know. There's much I don't understand about royalty, and they were even beyond celebrities of like, I don't know, like clearly we don't know their lives, but they are more mysterious. And so I just wanted, with his publicity with Meghan Markle and their marriage and all that he's done for his wife and how he found his way onto my feed, because trust me, that's hard. I'm not exactly following the royals. And then when he made it onto my feed, I was like, oh, I like this one. I want to know more about him, and and just like know more about him as a person. And that's exactly what the book is doing. He does a really great job of just showing his humanness, talking about his childhood, which for the most part, he was just like a normal kid, except the paparazzi, which you can definitely tell he cannot stand the paparazzi, which is completely understandable given his wife's situation and his mother's situation. Like, I completely understand that. Plus, it seems like the paparazzi when it comes to the royal family is like a whole nother beast. So I can understand why they are definitely like the villains in his story. But it's just been really nice to see the humanness in him, since like royals are so far removed from, like, they're not in the limelight. They're supposed to be mysterious and guarded, and to see the man that to see the actual humanness of him has been very interesting. I've also read a bit more of the Davenports, but not enough to actually talk about it. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and go because we're running late. Hello you guys, it is Monday now. Have y'all seen my new hair? I think I did shoot a clip since I've done my hair, but I don't think that clip's gonna make it into the vlog. But so, new hair, hey, I'm feeling cute. But anyways, I did want to give a few reading updates because I do believe that this is going to be the end of this vlog. It's Monday now, so I got more reading to do. I got some more reading to do, but I also need to get to editing this vlog so that you guys can see this hopefully this week. But anyways, I do have 3 books to update you guys on. First and foremost, a surprise contender, a surprise entry. We have Monstrous Volume 1. I did read this, or rather I finished reading it because for some reason I picked this book up I believe the year prior to last, around my birthday, and then I didn't finish it, and then I picked it up again last month, like in April, yes, and I had one more chapter left and I didn't finish it again. So I decided to finish out that chapter, and I gave this volume 3 stars. There is definitely hope along the horizon, but jury is still out whether or not I want to pick up volume 2. It's really sad, but also quite interesting, and the plot moves along so quickly. That being said, I have no clue how to describe a plot to you. Not a clue. 1, I don't know what's a spoiler and what's not. And 2, well, I know what happened. I just don't know how to explain it. What I can explain is that essentially there are 2 sides to the story. There are, I don't even know what the people are called, because I'm sure I was pronouncing it all types of wrong. So it is Arcanics, right? Yes, Arcanics, and I'm just gonna say people. Mainly witches, I guess. Yeah, I do not know what the other side is. But anyway, so there is the side of the Arcanics and then the side of humans, I believe. Maybe. Kinda, in this world. I genuinely cannot tell you what the other side is called, except for oftentimes the people in government or the people in charge of the army of the other side are called witches because they are witches. And I believe like also in charge of the church, so like not nuns, but what is that also called? I'm just gonna say witches. It's only half right, I would say, but nonetheless helpful, I think. So on the Arcanic side, it's essentially mutant people, I believe, or essentially like beings that were made and aren't human. All of this is going to be in quotes because I can only tell you what my mind grasped onto. And first volumes are always kind of hard to grasp onto the world because it's all so new. But these, on one side we have the Arcanics, and on the other side we have the humans who are more religiously led. Those in power are the witches, I think, and they are just like not fully in charge, but they are basically like in charge of providing order. And like I said, the other side are Arcanics, and they are like mutant people. They aren't seen as fully human, and so they are enslaved people. Very sad. We are seeing mainly the perspective of the Arcanics because our main character here is seen as one. The jury is still out on whether or not she is one, or I believe she is not, but there is something inside her that is an ancient spirit of sorts that has completely consumed her. Not completely, but it lives inside her and consumes her at times, making her feel this devastating hunger. And with this hunger, she eats. I don't know why I'm laughing. I don't know how to describe this volume. I don't know how to describe this story because it's only volume 1. And I'm like, there's so much confusion that comes with volume 1. But she, like I said, she has this spirit inside of her that is like this power, this great power that she is able to yield and that other people want. She also lost her mother when she was quite young, and in trying to understand the mystery of what happened to her mother, she ends up drawn to this mask. Stuff happens from there. I like the rest of it, I feel like is a spoiler. Not that I explained the previous part very well, but it was good. Jury is still out on whether or not I would actually recommend the comics because it's only volume 1, and I usually want to give comics at least 2 volumes because one of my favorite comics is Paper Girls, and I didn't really care for volume 1. I was very confused. I was very much like this, didn't know how to describe it really. There was a lot of plot twist and just overall confusion, but I loved volume 2. It gave me all like this warm feel internally, and volume 3 was even better. So I'm just going to need to hold off my real thoughts on the volume until I've read another one, but this was a good start. It was very fast paced. It was very engaging. I did appreciate that, but I did give it ultimately 3 stars because the overall story for me right now, it is only a first volume. It's okay. Like, I don't know much. Like, there were plot twists, and some of them did not help me to understand anything better, and some of them didn't impact anything. And now some of them, I did also continue the audiobook for Spare, which is Prince Harry's memoir, and I am enjoying it quite deeply. Prince Harry, so my whole reason for wanting to read this book so much is I watched the documentary with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. It's called Harry and Meghan, I believe, on Netflix. And I did enjoy it like a lot. And there was times where Harry was getting feisty and I was like, oh, I want to know more. So I wanted to hear more of his perspective. He don't like the media, and it is so, I don't want to say funny, because it's not funny. Like, his hatred towards the media and how they have impacted his life makes complete sense, and I do not want to take that lightly. That being said, as a journalism major, that's not even why I just find this so intriguing. But the media is the villain in his story, and that is just fascinating. Again, not so much in a way that I feel like I need to defend the media, because I don't know how understand how Great Britain's media works. That's their business. Okay, I'm in America. But what I find fascinating is that, again, as a journalism major, we were always taught of like the importance of the media and how we go about telling our stories. We can tell the very same story, but the perspective you tell it in is going to vary, and what you want your audience to hone from what you are writing is greatly influenced by how you write it. And clearly the media, when it came to the royal family, just wanted all the juicy goss, wanted to really do what I said doesn't really work for me, just basically like heighten them up, really, I don't want to say dehumanize, but definitely take away the humanness of them and just have them be a specter, be a show for the British people to watch. And again, this was mentioned in the documentary, and you can just see like this is absolutely Harry's perspective on the media. And of course, reading the book, I'm like, wow, you're saying this about the media and how they go about sharing your story, where you very much don't have a objective view on them, and that very much guises how you describe them in your book. Like, they are absolutely the villain. They get in the way of his everything. He wanted to be in the army and really, or he didn't want to be. He was in the army, but they got in the way of him actually feeling as though he can make an impact in the army and feel like he could actually work, like he wanted to work within the army. And he wanted to live the life of a normal 20-something-year-old, and they got in the way of that. He wanted to date, and they got in the way of that. He wanted to have a mom, and they got in the way of that. I did not know until watching their documentary on Netflix how Princess Diana passed. Like, I knew she had gotten in a car accident. I did not know that paparazzi were the cause of it. And Harry's perspective or not, they were the cause of it. To hear that they actually were taking pictures after the crash of the crash site. Oh my God. Horrible. But I did not know that that's what happened. And it breaks my heart. Like, that one really passed because the media didn't know how to be a decent human beings. Like, whatever. I say the media and then talk about human beings because journalists, paparazzi didn't know how to be like decent human beings, and that's just so heartbreaking. I feel so bad for him, but that's how he lost his mother, and at such a young age. Anytime he would mention like being the spare and how he knew his entire life that he was a spare, but that he didn't really, he will say like, it didn't really impact my life. But then I'm like, honey, I know how the story ends. Being the spare absolutely impacted your life, okay? They were not trying to protect you. And when you got married, they were not trying to protect your wife, okay? Like, the future king was protected. His babies is protected. You were not. And in the media, when you were younger, you were not protected. You should have been. Even prior to you being married, if you weren't the spare, they would have put more work into preserving your image, and they put almost zero. They didn't do that for the future king, at least from your perspective. Again, it's only your memoir, so it's not like I don't want to know his perspective. I don't really care enough for that. But it still breaks my heart that he knew his entire life that he was a spare. And as much as he can be like, at the beginning, it didn't really matter to him. It matters to me because no one should start out their life feeling like the spare child or knowing that they are the spare child. There should be no such thing as a spare kid. The fuck? Ugh. Next up, I have read more of the Davenports. I'm on chapter 12, apparently. So I've read 11 of the chapters. And I like it. I like it so much. I really love it. This is a book that I am reading with my sisters, and they are further along than I am, and I need to catch up. That is my plan for the night, is to catch up with them. So far, this follows the perspective of 4 young women. There are 2 who are in the Davenport household, which is this renowned family known for not inventing, but their line of horse-drawn carriages. So they have grown their wealth through this like line. It's like a line of cars, you know, like Ford, Kia. They have the Davenport carriages, and they're black. They black, y'all. They black and wealthy in 1910. Oh my God, not even 1920, 1910, baby. Not a good time, not an easy time to be black and wealthy. Like, how did they, again, I mean, they made carriages. And the dad, apparently the Davenport dad was born enslaved. But there are 2 sisters who are Davenports. One is Olivia, and then there is Helen. Olivia is the older sister. Helen is the younger one. Olivia is like, think Bridgerton. Olivia would be Daphne. Helen would be Eloise, okay? Olivia is all about their lifestyle. The season is upon them, I guess, and she's of age. So she is looking for a husband. Helen is also, well, she is soon to be of age. Like, by the end of the summer, she will be 18. But Helen only cares about mechanics. In fact, they have spoken at the beginning of the book about how cars are coming along and how if they want to continue their wealth, they need to start transitioning to owning cars or selling cars. and Helen is really into mechanics. She is an intellectual woman, and she would like to be regarded with as much respect as the men that she works with. Next up is Amy Rose. She is a maid to Olivia and Helen. That's essentially her story. She did grow up with them, but she's older now and they are older now, so she is simply their maid. But she has dreams of owning her own hair salon. And next up, last but not least, we have Ruby, who is Olivia's friend, and her family is also wealthy, although their wealth is on the decline. Her father wants to go into politics, and to fund his campaign, it is quite expensive. That's the word, expensive. It's expensive. And their wealth is slowly but surely dwindling away. So it is of the utmost importance that he wins his campaign. I haven't gotten very far into it, but I will say it is quite interesting at the beginning. I'm loving these short chapters. I have found myself completely entranced by this book. I'm having those moments where I'll be reading and then I'll have to like look up and I'll be like, oh, I'm not in the scene. I'm not in the book. How much time has passed? Which we all know is an amazing time to experience. But yeah, those are my reading updates. We will see what this blog has in store for us. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed your time here with me. I'm very nervous to be editing this vlog. I truly do want to fall back in love with vlogging, and I hope that this first step was a great one. So yeah, hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Bye y'all. Prince Harry's memoirs. Memoir.